So, talking about how to build $1 million nervous system sounds amazing and all, but like you're looking at your bank account, your credit card bills, your balances, and you're saying, Amy, I still have debt. How the heck am I even going to start thinking about $1 million nervous system? Today, I answer that question for you, and we talk about how to actually build while you are in that leverage state. There's a really great episode on the other side of this for you, so let's get into it. Welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast, where we explore the mindset shifts, energetic upgrades, and practical strategies that support you in becoming the woman who creates what she desires with confidence and clarity. I'm Amy Diamond, and I help high-performing women like you move beyond shame, guilt, and struggle so that you can step into deeper wealth, confidence, and a life that feels delicious inside and out. If you've ever sensed you are meant for more and you're ready to create it, this is your place. It's time to move beyond the vision board, babe, and become the catalyst for true transformation. You're about to step into something really powerful. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Manifesting Millions podcast. I'm so grateful that you are here with me today. If you caught last week's episode, then you are likely raring to go for today's episode. Today is part 2 of the $1 million nervous system. Quick recap of what this was, because you're going to be stepping partway through the conversation. So this recording was done on my LinkedIn page back in, I think it was May or June. And it was intended to be a interview. I was supposed to sit down with a different podcast host, and 30 minutes before we were supposed to go live, the whole thing fell apart and got canceled. But I had already been telling all of you who are with me on the socials that I would be going live on LinkedIn. So I decided I was going to honor that word and just do it. I had to figure out the tech stack in like short order. Going live on LinkedIn, by the way, is not as easy as going live on all the other social media channels. So that took me a little bit of a second to get sorted out, but I'm so glad I did, because what flowed through in, I think it was about an hour and 15 minutes or so, that was like my total broadcast time, was some of the best insights that have come together possibly like ever that I've done, which is kind of wild. What I want you to take away from this is that when we just like say yes and show up anyway, even when everything falls apart, and we just show up with the intent of like, this is going to be fucking good. People are going to get a shit ton of value out of it. And then you just ask the universe to meet you where you are and just guide what you're putting out in the world. Like, holy smokes, really cool things happen. So, part 1 was last week, and it was sort of setting the stage for how to set up your $1 million nervous system. Why is it important? Today we're going to be talking about. Let me have a quick little peeky at my notes so I remember. So today we're talking about the importance of boundaries. And OMG, ladies, this one is for you, okay? Because look, we are certainly not socialized to have healthy, strong boundaries. So we talk about that right off the start. We talk about how to weed out opportunities, people, and solutions that don't, situations that don't align with who we're here to be. I get into a little bit today of like why you don't need to have the goal of $1 million or multi-million dollar year or business in order to benefit from $1 million nervous system. What I do want you to understand is that you don't need to be going after like giant financial goals in order to really benefit from what is shared in this 3-part series. It's like everything that you're going to hear inside today's episode, what you would have caught on part 1, and then I have a very special drop of part 3 coming. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But it's all like, how do I say this? it's set up to help you just get into like your most abundant state yet. Okay. Um, Inside today's section, actually, I kind of love this. So there's a thing that I'm really not supposed to tell you, that I shared in the live broadcast. Oh my goodness. It was so fascinating. It was just channeling through that, like, I have to share this. And then my entire nervous system went on high alert. So you get to hear the thing that I'm not supposed to tell you, that like every business coach in the world is going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? And like, do not say this in a live broadcast. But I also show you and talk you through exactly what's happening as my nervous system gets activated, why it gets activated, and how we move through it. Which is like, oh my gosh, I could not have scripted a better teaching moment for you. We'll talk about how to expand when you're carrying debt. This is a real struggle. This is something that I've been like deeply learning over the last few years. And then tiny actions that actually create transition. Okay. Because so often it's like, do these big things and like have these big visions. And I'm here to tell you straight up, it is not about the big actions and the big swings. Those are fun. They're definitely scary, but it is the itty bitty microscopic mini tiny little alignments that you do day after day after day that make the big difference. So that's like only a tiny bit, right? Like it's already a huge setup for what you're going to hear in today's recording. So I'm gonna stop my preamble here. I'm gonna put you right into the recording. Just as a quick reminder, this is halfway through the conversation. So if you're kind of going like, wait, what is going on here? I feel like I've sort of stepped partway through. It's because you have. So part one, if you haven't listened to it yet, is available on the feed that dropped last week. Definitely have a listen to it because there's gold in all of the parts that are coming together. But today we're just stepping straight into the conversation. All right. So with that, let's get into it, shall we? So I have no notes for today because my intention was that this is going to be a live conversation. So we have, okay, so we've said, okay, we're going to start. How do we expand? Amy, we'll get through this. We start by saying, this is the thing I'm going to do. We then go to honoring the commitment. This is the foundational piece. From here, okay, we rinse and repeat. We keep doing this. That's why I sort of belabored the point of really honoring the commitment with yourself and doing it in all avenues. Tiny little warning note, particularly for the ladies in the audience. This one is really it's gonna resonate with a few of you. As you commit to yourself, as you step into expanded spaces, as you build your brand, as you build your business, as you build your visibility, you're also going to need to build some boundaries. This is very difficult for a lot of women, especially because we've been conditioned societally that it is our job to really like serve everybody around us first and foremost and over and above everything else. Boundaries are going to feel challenging. They'll feel icky. They'll feel like you're being very selfish for quite some time until you realize, oh, it actually isn't. And holy moly, does it create a tremendous amount of freedom in my life to actually do the things that I want to do. So some boundaries, for example, could be that it's very clear when you're working, you're working. So very often when I'm working, I don't have my notifications on because I'm working. I need to concentrate. I cannot focus on like deep work, especially like content creation and things like that, if my phone keeps binging. Now, this has meant that I've had people that are like, why can't I reach you during the day? Like, what is going on? And they are welcome and allowed to feel some kind of way about the fact that they can't get a hold of me whenever they want to. The old me would have said, "Oh gosh, okay, I'm so sorry. Like I'll make sure that I have my notifications on so I'm always available to you." But present me has gone, "Well, sorry, like in order for me to do my best work, I understand that there are some boundaries that need to be in place, and those boundaries include that I don't have my notifications on." Something that I haven't seen as much about it lately, but for a number of years, especially sort of right in around COVID time and a little before then, there was a tremendous amount of talk about not checking your email first thing in the morning. That's a boundary thing Because what was happening, so many people were like, I don't understand. I get into work and I check my email, and then all of a sudden it's noon and I have lost all the time that I had planned to do this thing. It's so fascinating to me that people get annoyed if you don't email back right away. And I'm like, sorry, I am I'm doing other things. Like if it's mission critical, then you will have some way of getting a hold of me, but 99% of the time it is not. Understanding that this is something that is important for the success of my content, for the success of my business, for the success of my day, okay? Like it doesn't even have to be about like I'm building a business. It can be about the fact that you are a human who gets to decide how your day goes, okay? So understanding how important that boundary is. I might do a quick skim over my inbox in the morning, not even every morning, but like sometimes I'll have a quick peek. Anything in here that I need to deal with? No, cool. Or the vast majority of the time, I'll see things in my inbox and go, cool, I'll deal with those later. And people can feel however they want to feel about it. So, expanding your capacity to receive, all of these things that I've been sharing so far probably feel like they're unrelated. And yet, they are the heart of how we expand our capacity to receive. It is the unsexy, unexciting, really kind of like blah things that build that capacity for things to come in. Speaking of boundaries directly, having some clear boundaries in your day, in your work, in your accessibility, in like how things function, in how people, for example, I have some boundaries in terms of like if I bring podcast guests onto the podcast, I have some clear guidelines. That might be a nicer way for someone to hear it, of how I expect people to show up and how things expect to happen. That didn't always exist. Most boundaries, most guidelines come as a response to somebody or something overstepping and wreaking some kind of havoc on our life, right? So, for example, I've had podcast guests who showed up late. I've had guests who, this is my favorite one, where like someone showed up late and then said, they didn't apologize for being late, which already was not like super high on my, I was like, what the heck? But then came in hard and said, I have a hard stop in like blah, blah, blah times. And I was like, okay, but just to be clear, it's like I'm doing you a favor by having you in on this conversation, right? It's not, you're not doing me a favor coming here to have this conversation. So it didn't feel good. I didn't enjoy it. It was something that I needed to be able to set aside energetically in order so I could focus on the conversation and still lead a really great interview. But that experience gave me a guideline to say, listen, I expect you to be on time. I also get that life happens. How are you going to let me know if something comes up? And also to hold a specific container of time for the conversation. And since I've put that guideline in place, every podcast guest that I've sat down with has been like, that's totally great. What's so interesting when we do that, it seems again like a very small thing, but what it does is it weeds out the people, the opportunities, the situations that don't fully align with who we're here to be. Right? So if someone comes like, oh, like, why is she asking me all these questions? And like, this is ridiculous. Cool. Then like, you're just not going to be in alignment. And I've also been in places where I thought originally that, I don't know, being on a podcast or working with this person or whatever was going to be really great. And I was really excited about it. And then as we got further into it, or, there was some kind of a form that needed to be filled out or whatever, it became clear, you know what? This doesn't feel like a nice place to be. It doesn't feel, I don't want to use the word aligned because I want to give you a bit more clarity. It doesn't feel like a beneficial both ways, like a reciprocal positive environment. Or this has also happened. I'll notice, wow, this person like really operates in this kind of a way. Hey, so real quick question for you. Are you on the Insights email list already? And if you are not, what are you waiting for? folks on my Insights email list get the best of the best from me. They get super secret deals, they get insights and freebies and all kinds of cool stuff delivered straight to their inbox. So if you are not yet on the list, get yourself on there right now. Click the link in the show notes and let's get you signed up so I can help you continue to keep expanding. Because, babe, OMG, the world wants more of you. So let's get you going. And then I have the opportunity to decide, is this going to be useful? And is it a container that I want to step into or not? Because if a person operates in a very specific way, and that way like very much butts heads with how I move in the world and how I approach my work and how I approach, for example, content creation or audience conversations, things like that, then taking the moment to make the intentional decision of either saying yes or no means that if I say yes, I know what I'm getting into. And I understand that there's going to be some internal labor on my part to continue being calm, to continue being open, to continue, showing up in a way that brings value in whatever this relationship is. Or I can say no and say, this isn't going to be a good fit, right? These are the things that we are doing that are expanding our capacity to receive. So let's come in at the end here. I'm all like snuggled in. Let's talk about money. All right. Let's end this lovely conversation. Talking about money. Money is one of my absolute favorite topics. I think I could probably talk about it all day long. I often do talk about it all day long. And yeah, so how do the question really in the topic for today was the $1 million nervous system, right? How do we set ourselves up? How do we build the container that allows us to call in the millions of dollars, right? And I want you to think about the millions of dollars, not necessarily because you may not desire to have, $1 million years, a multi-million dollar years. That may not be your dream, and that's 100% cool. But I'm going to guess that you probably do have some version of a dream that has some higher level of income and or financial resources available to you, which is why you're here in the first place. So substitute, millions of dollars with whatever level is where your heart is like thrumming and happy about. Okay. So for some people, it could be simply reaching six figures. For some people, it could be $500,000. For someone, it could be, $750,000. If you're very early on in your financial journey, you might even just be like, listen, if I can make $75,000 in a year, that would be friggin' amazeballs. Okay. So whatever that level is, that next one, that one that you're striving towards, but you're like, how do I get there? Okay. We're going to talk about the nervous system side of that and how to expand that capacity. So I'm going to go through it from the example of the $1 million nervous system. All right. Now, what I'm not supposed to do, what I shouldn't tell you, what I should probably zip my lip on. And there's this really beautiful, okay, hang on. I got to digress for a half a second. I have a really, really friggin' amazing interview coming out on the Manifesting Millions podcast in August. I don't know the publishing date just yet, with a woman named Marissa Liesenfeld. She has the most amazing tool that I have been playing with, and I friggin' love it. Inside this tool, which I won't say anything more about of how it works, but what it has been giving me while I've been testing it out, because I wanted to test it in advance of the interview, is some very big clarity on how I'm meant to speak about things. And fascinatingly, I'm laughing because I'm just like, of course it is. What it's showing me is that how I'm meant to show up in the world and how I'm meant to talk about money and talk about all these elements of building our success and expanding our wealth is very much not what a business coach would tell you to do. So I feel like there's every business coach in the world, if they knew what I was about to say to you, would be like, Amy, don't friggin' do it. Do not share this. You're going to destroy your credibility. People are going to want to work with you. And what this tool has been showing me is this is actually exactly what people want to hear, need to hear, what will connect with the right people who are meant to be in your world. Okay, so here we go. We're about to do the thing that business experts told us not to. The thing that I wanted to front, I just realized my microphone is a little crooked. The thing that I wanted to front before I go into how do we build our $1 million nervous system is to say, at this current moment in time, when I am sitting here recording this live stream for you, I have not yet generated $1 million in my business, in my life, in any way, shape, or form. Okay. I have not yet created six-figure years in my business. I have Ooh, isn't that interesting? I wanted to be like, tell you, okay, so I have created these things, but I haven't created these things. And the reason that, so here's what happens. And this is so fantastic that this is happening in the live stream. The inside part of me, the nervous system part that says, oh, I can't believe you just said that. Okay, you need to qualify it. What our body responds and it dumps out of our mouth, okay? Because remember, your nervous system communicates to your brain instantly and then it just like filters out. We have all done this, said things without thinking, because our conscious mind moves very slowly and sometimes our subconscious has control of the lips. So what was happening in that moment is that my nervous system that is still feeling the impact of the conditioning that I've had for years from business experts and guides that have said, you need to, be the authority. You can't tell people. They have to trust that like you already know and have been at the level that they want to get to. Otherwise, they're never going to follow you. They're never going to want to work with you. So that conditioning is still active and is in the place of being deconditioned and replaced with a new condition that says, hey, actually, sharing this honestly, sharing the journey honestly is going to really impact my audience and the people who are meant to hear about my work and hear these particular examples in a much more profound way. So I love that that just happened for you because that was completely unplanned. So, all right, this is how this is how the live streams work. And one of the beautiful things about today, this probably would not have shown up if it were an interview, because an interview is obviously a much more guided conversation. So I just love how everything has come together for that to show up for you today. So, coming back to what we're talking about, how do we expand our nervous system to begin to hold the $1 million level? As I mentioned a few times already, we do it in the small moments. Now, I want to talk about this particular element. This is something that I think is where a huge amount of what my specific experience and how it's going to benefit all of you is coming to pass in the world right now. So many of us, in particular, given how the world is going right now, you may have gone through a layoff, or there's a tremendous amount of people who are struggling financially, even if you still have your job and you're not laid off. We can talk about rising costs of inflation and like everything's getting more expensive. We can have a conversation about how, housing is becoming crazy expensive. We're not going to go into it. You're aware, you're in the world, you know what's happening. But the point is that a huge amount of people are either sitting right at the line. So maybe you don't have any debt. Perhaps your credit cards are continually paid in full. You have no loans, no lines of credit, nothing else. Perhaps you have a mortgage, which is still technically a debt, but it is something that is also building an asset, right? A house can, in most cases, be an asset in our lives. So if you have none of those things, what I call leveraged money, then awesome. But you might be living right at the line. For a huge amount of people, though, and myself included in this category, we are carrying leveraged money in some way, shape, or form. It could be credit cards that have higher balances than we can pay off or are maxed out or nearly maxed out. It could be loans. It could be lines of credit. It could be like you've borrowed money from your uncle 4 times removed, like, whatever. But in your life exists a financial condition that appears as if you're actually what I like to think of as behind the starting line. Okay. When we are wanting to expand our nervous system to allow ourselves to hold the capacity of $1 million business or multi-million dollar business, we are coming at it from a place where our present reality, our current reality, is very much experiencing financial struggle and scarcity. Now, I'm going to talk about this more deeply inside. I have a live workshop that I'll be doing at the end of July called Money Magic. And we're going to be spending one of the days of the workshop talking about extended periods of financial scarcity or struggle and how that impacts our ability to shift and grow our beliefs. Okay. So if you want to go deeper into it, I'll make sure that the URL is somewhere at the bottom of this video so that you can register and join me inside. I digress. Let me come back. Let me just get myself back into the space I was talking to you from. When we are wanting to expand into this $1 million nervous system, if we are in a place where currently, this happens a lot for entrepreneurs who are growing their business, especially, I'm going to just kind of use a brush stroke and say, especially in the first 5 years, income is inconsistent. Our business, may have some really great moments and then nothing. We are often, very often, funding our business through our personal finances. This happens a lot. This is something that I'm deeply familiar with. We even have a term for it. It's called bootstrapping our business. Okay. In this space, to then go, okay, I'm building the nervous system for $1 million a year. Even just saying that, okay, this is interesting. Even just saying that, I have this little feeling inside my chest. It's like, whoa, hey, if you notice the same thing happen, now you might have an initial excitement. Oh, Amy's going to tell me exactly how to build a nervous system. Yes. Yes, I will. I'm telling you all the things right now. And if you are having that feeling that's like, oh, that feels icky. That is a good indicator that you have some growth in front of you. Okay. So, how do we actually build the nervous system? One piece at a time. The very first thing that is very, very important is that we actually recognize and honor and find our ways to come to peace with our current financial reality. There is a lot of manifestation teachers that talk about, and you've seen this all over social media, talking about being delusional and holding delusional belief, going after your dreams. We're going to talk about this in depth inside the Money Magic workshop. When we have experienced extended periods of financial scarcity, if we are having financial constriction right now, so you have more leveraged money, meaning more money owing than is coming in, then yes, we need to focus on building the beliefs of what is coming in. And there's a point at which delusional thinking is going to actually be a hurdle for you. So if you felt that nervous system clutch when I said, okay, I'm going to show you how we're going to build $1 million nervous system, that is your body giving you an indication that says, hang on, we are not ready to hold that yet. So the first thing is actually starting where you're at, finding a way through tiny little moments, practicing itty bitty, they're microscopic, okay? Little tiny adjustments and actions that are going to help ease your nervous system forward. So what does that look like? You log into your bank account, or you're about to log into your bank account, and even just opening the app or opening the website, your whole your heart starts to race. You feel like you're starting to sweat and you're like, fuck, I don't want to go in here. It's not going to be good. I'm so nervous of what I'm going to see. This is a really critical part where we want to start, again, shifting our conditioning, allowing our nervous system to adjust that this is going to be expanding. You can do this simply by taking a moment right before you log in, breathing deep, reminding yourself that you're safe, that you're okay, that everything's fine, that no matter what you find on the other side when you log in, you are still fundamentally okay. Your brain is going to want to create all kinds of stories about what you're going to find there. And your worry system, which is inbuilt, by the way, your worry system is going to go to work trying to resolve the problem. Understanding that all of these pieces are at play is already putting you miles ahead of the rest. In those moments, that's where we make the adjustment. we breathe deep. So when we breathe in deeply, so if you've ever done box breathing, or I don't know what it's called, but there's it's a nervous system breath. The name is out, it's not in my brain right now, but it's like you breathe in deep and then you breathe out as if you're breathing through a straw. All these different kinds of breathing techniques, literally what they are doing, this is exactly like how they're designed to work, is that they are communicating to your vagus nerve, which is like one of the central hearts of your nervous system. The vagus nerve, you're saying we're safe and we're okay. You are taking active action through your breath, that science has proven that this works, that like it actually calms your nervous system. Okay, so that's why we do that. I teach all these different options inside Wealthy as Fuck, which is one of my programs. So you're logging into your bank account. You're like, how the heck do I, regulate my nervous system when I'm terrified of what I'm going to find? So first of all, we start with the nervous system. We do some deep breaths. Then we activate our conscious mind. We make note of like what is happening right now. What are the stories that it's trying to spin? And we create alternative reminders, thoughts, stories that are more useful for what we want to experience. I hope that every word of that sentence went into your conscious mind because I use them very specifically. Your brain is telling stories anyway. You are flexing the creative capacity as the owner of your body and of your brain, the person who gets to choose their thoughts. You're saying, wait a minute. So I've said things like, no matter what's on the other side of the screen, I'm okay and I'm safe and everything's going to be fine. Or these are just numbers on a screen. Or if I'm feeling a little bit like more like peppy, some days we feel like this is a easier reach. I'm so excited that like there's going to come a day that when I log in, I'm going to see like, oh my God, there's like $100,000 like in positive balance in my bank account, or there's $10,000 in positive balance in my bank account, or oh my gosh, like how cool would it be if I knew that I was logging in right now to pay all of my credit cards in full, and that this is just like a normal experience for me. Or oh my gosh, wouldn't it be awesome like when I log in that I see that this payment has come in. What this is doing already, I'm feeling the shift in my energy, and I trust that you're feeling it as well. Already what we're doing is we're conditioning our brain and therefore our nervous system, because remember they talk together the whole time. We're conditioning them to understand that this act of logging into our bank account actually could be a really positive thing. When we start to play in that micro moment and adjust the stuff that our brain is listening to, which then coincidentally our body is listening to, we are now building the capacity to hold more. All right. But it's tiny, they're little bitty things. All right, my loves, that's it for part 2. I trust that today was really useful and impactful for you. If this was helpful for you, I would love so much, if you haven't yet done so, to have you leave a podcast review. And if you found that there was like some real gold in here that you're like, oh my gosh, why are more people not aware of this? Please share this out. Send this episode to a friend, post it on your social medias, like help get it out there. If you have an email list, holy smokes, how amazing would it be if you shared this episode with your list? I would love that so much. Thank you. If you are posting on the socials, please be sure to tag me so I can celebrate you and help sort of boost your visibility a little bit. Tag me at XO Amy Diamond. That's my URL or my handle on all of the socials. And if you wanted to see the visual part of this, so that you can actually like see how I'm moving and like what's showing up energetically, sometimes we can see it a little bit better than we can just hear it in an audio. This episode is going to be dropping on YouTube on Saturday. So every week I have a podcast episode that hits on Wednesday, and I have a YouTube video that lands on Saturday. They are not usually the same content. It's very rare that I do the same content on both channels, because they're slightly different mediums. But when it's something that's like this, that's so freaking good, or the interview that I did with Marissa Lisenfeld a few weeks ago, I just want to get that out to as many people as I can in as many mediums as possible. So that's how That's how I make the decision of like what goes on both channels. So all that to say, if you want to see the video, it'll be hitting YouTube, which is again at XO Amy Diamond, and it's going to be dropping on Saturday morning. If you are on my insights list, I always send you the links directly to the video, straight to the podcast, so that you can always catch the latest. And I often will tell you a little like behind the scenes stuff of what's going on as I was either preparing for it or how the topic came to be or what's happening in my life, all those fun little things. So if you're not yet on the list, get yourself on the Insights email list. I'd love to have you there. And lastly, but of course not, I forgot how that saying was. What is it? Like last but not least? There we go. Lastly but not leastly. Here we are. Um, the magic money, or was it money magic? I say it interchangeably, and I always like turn it around whenever I seem to be trying to talk about it. But the workshop that I ran in July, oh my gosh, it landed so good with the people who joined me inside the workshop, whether it was through the replays or through the live. Uh, the words are failing me today. Okay, come on, brain, we can do this. The live class. That's all I'm trying to say, I guess. Um, Let me come back to it. Okay, so the Money Magic workshop was really great. And those of you who joined me in July got a shit ton out of it. And I am doing it again in September. I believe the dates are September 22nd to I think it's the 25th. It's 4 days. It's about an hour a day. Some days are slightly less than an hour. There is such incredible insight and knowledge and like serious shifts that actually happen in the room. Okay. I've always dreamed of having a workshop where people are like, oh my God, like everything just changed for me, like while I'm live delivering the information. And this workshop hit it. And I was so freaking excited for it. So I'm going to be doing it again in September. I will have the link in the show notes for you. Um, this is the last time I'll be doing this workshop for free. The next time that I run this workshop, which I'll be running relatively regularly because it is so impactful. The next time that we do this, though, it's going to be a pay to play. So you're going to be having a sign up cost to an investment, if you will, to join me inside the Money Magic workshop. So if you want to see what it's all about, if you want to get your transformations, your transitions, your shifts, your aha moments for free, then get your sweet little tush onto Save Your Seat for the September workshop because it's the last time I'll be doing this one for free. And with that, there is going to be a special birthday drop of part 3 of the $1 Million Nervous System. So Monday is my birthday. Hashtag Virgo, super loves. I'm going to be out of office for the day doing one of my favorite things. I'll be in the mountains, getting in some sunshine and some hikes and some fresh air. But I have decided that I'm going to do part 3 of the $1 Million Nervous System as a very special birthday drop. I love so much the alignment for that because part 3 is the part that we like really get into the actual how. Once you are, how do I say this? Once you are moving into the level where like money and flow and like increase and overflow is starting to happen in your life, and how do we work with our nervous system? How do we set it up? How do we ground it daily? Right? We learned today about tiny actions over and over. How do we ground it daily to really be able to hold the increase that's coming in? One of the big things that so many people talk about is that they suddenly had the windfall, or they received an inheritance, or they got a huge promotion and they're making more money than they've ever known before. And they just cannot hold the money. They go further into debt. Their money all disappears in like a year or two. So we don't want that, right? Obviously. How do we actually work with the nervous system, and how do we align with our money? So I'm very excited for this to come out on my birthday. So it's going to be a special edition drop on Monday, and it will hit both the podcast and YouTube on the same day so you can have it either way. Yeah, that's it. All right, I'm going to stop blathering on. I need to go check on my laundry. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you on this very special edition on Monday. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode, my love. If you loved what you heard today, I'd be so grateful if you left a review and shared it with someone ready for more. For additional love and inspiration, find me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at XOAmyDiamond, or visit the links in the show notes. I'm already excited to connect in the next episode, and I'm cooking up something really juicy for you. Until then, I'm sending you all my love, and I'm reminding you, you're already awesome. It's time to let your brilliance shine.